Listen, you can spend years trying to figure out how to edit good videos on your own, or you can get real feedback on your edits and improve your skills in just a couple weeks. And in this video, I'm giving feedback to one of my students in the Video Editing Elite to help him make his edits more clean, more effective, and also just easier to watch for the viewer's eye. And if you want expert feedback just like these on your edits, and if you're actually serious about becoming a better editor faster, then join the Editing Elite, where I give feedback to your edits and also show you how you can make $1,000, $2,000, or even your first $5,000 per month with editing videos. But please don't wait too long, because I will be raising the prices very soon. So click the first link in the description and join the Editing Elite. But with that said, let's jump into the editing feedback. Hey Kingsley, I hope you're doing good. So I just wanted to give some quick feedback on the video that you've edited. So you re-edited, and I see it's a Vimeo link. This is good. So let's get started. Let me ask you something. Did you actually know that most editors... So here what I would say is, right away what I can hear, I'm not sure it's because of Vimeo or it's because like the rendering or whatever, but what I can notice is like the audio, like the music and the sound effects are super loud, and my voice is super quiet. Like if I just did you actually know like the sound effects are like super loud? So what I would do here is just make sure always to have my voice in like to pop more, and make sure that my voice is the actual thing that is mostly in the like mostly in the foreground, and the background music should be in the background, you know, giving the vibes, giving the people, making them feel the same way that I'm talking, like the storytelling essentially. So when I tell like a sad story, that it's like kind of like a sad music, or when it's like an inspirational story, for example, then we have an inspirational music. And do we want to have that in the background, kind of like in the movies that you see? Because if it's in the foreground and it's like over my voice, or it's like louder than my voice in this case, then people can get pretty annoyed. Even if they can hear my voice and can hear what they're saying, they get pretty distracted by just like loud music and loud sound effects. So I would just always make sure to not like have the music and the sound effects too loud. I would say they should be present. They should be, in terms of what your goal is, they should be also be easy to hear, but they should be not annoyingly too loud, I would say. And what I use to make my voice sound a bit more pop, especially with this Shure SM7B microphone, is I add a couple of effects. So this is why I pulled up my timeline here, for example. This is by the way, the audio workspace. And what I do here is, whenever I have, for example, this is for my newest video. This is how I did the 2 million views video, and this first section of the video where I just talked about the what is the coming up video or the coming up recording. What I did there is I just added these two effects. So what I did is like add 8 decibels of gain to make it more loud, and then here in the audio track mixer, I just added these two effects. If I open this up, you can see it's a parametric equalizer, and I just chose the vocal enhance preset, and then from there I just made sure to make it sound really good. For example, more bass, because usually it looks like this, but I just added essentially more bass. I just moved down the highs as well, so it looks kind of like this, and you can just play around with it as good it sounds for your like recording and stuff like that. And what I also did is I added a tube modeled compressor, and you can find this all in your FX, whatever, in Premiere Pro. So it's not paid, whatever. And what I just chose here is like voice leveler, and I just set the output gain to 7 decibels. And what this does is what the parametric equalizer does. Let me just turn it off so you can see. What makes I can show you how this video sounded before. Ever wondered what makes actually a video go viral, or how to actually edit a video that gets... It's pretty good, but there's a lot of room for improvement. So what I did first is I actually made it louder, like by 8 decibels, because this microphone can be quiet, not loud, but quiet. It can be quiet. Yeah, it sounds pretty weird, right? How I said it, but yeah, it can be quiet sometimes, even though I have like couple equipment to make it louder. Sometimes I just don't do it, just don't make it loud enough because I kind of like fear that it is way too loud and it just like doesn't sound as clean as possible. So what I like to do is I just like to add more gain in the end, like in the editing software. So, but first of all, I edit parametric equalizer after I edited gain. I edit a video that gets millions of views. You are at the right place because this, if you can hear it, there's more bass and it's just a little bit more, it just sounds a little bit more pleasant. And then the tube model compressor actually edit a video that gets millions of views. You can hear how louder it gets. And if I just turn it, oh, can't turn it off, but if you can just pay attention to here to this graph, you are at the right place because it's not like too loud, it's not in the red zones, it's kind of like in the -3, -4, or -6 range. And what I would aim is to only add it to -3. So this is -3 here. I would aim to have your audio here, not at 0, not at -2, not at -12, whatever, but have it consistently as -3 whenever you have like your microphone and tube model adjusted. Because this is the breakdown I wish I had when I first started editing videos. Because yeah, here it's a bit still, I would say, too quiet. So what I would just do is just add some more gain to the footage if I were you, but it depends also on your microphone, your footage. But this is just like a rule of thumb, like what I would do essentially. You are, yeah, like right now it's even more better because the more clearer it is to watch the video, the more easy it is, the less people will click off. Because if the audio is bad and it's just not really high quality, then the people will just click off and it will be annoying. And yeah, you don't want to have people click off the video because the audio is annoying. Audio is like super important. Even if your image is like 720p, like just HD, whatever, then even that, people are just gonna watch it. But if it's like super bad audio, then they don't not gonna watch it. So this is what I do. And what I like to do is when my audio is on -3, I would just like to have the music around this range here, or like this range, depends on the music. So like all the way from -16 to -24, or all the way the sound effects to from -12 to -20. It really depends on the audio effect. So if it's like a little bit more like higher pitched sound effect, then I would also like turn it down even more. So you really have to pay attention to the audio for sure. So yeah, this is just a little insight on my timeline. But yeah, let's continue. Oh, by the way, this is like a question. Did you actually know? So this is actually a question mark, but I wouldn't actually put any like whatever at the end because this leads into another sentence. So there should be a comma, but we don't need a comma because it just doesn't make too much sense. Know that most editors are stuck working on Fiverr for just like $50 per project. What I would do here is I would just make sure to have like a cleaner image of the computers because this looks kind of like AI, like the keyboard, you can see it. And Fiverr for just like $50 per project. And did you actually know? Somehow I don't think this looks, I think this could look even more clean. Let me just put it to 4K, maybe it's because of 4K. Stuck working on Fiverr for just like $50 per project. I like how high quality this looks. But the Fiverr logo is just a little bit pixelated, if you can see it here. So I would just make it less pixelated. And here for the image, I would just pick a higher quality image, like a AI image. For example, here, when I used AI image generator, I wanted to make sure it's like a high quality image, so it's not low quality. By the way, this video is not out yet, but yeah, just gonna give it like a little insight. But I wanted to make sure that this is high quality, and I created this with FreePick. So you can just use FreePick AI generator here. So you can use it AI generator, and then yeah, there's like I think it's like $10 per month, like the pricing of FreePick. If you go for, wow, they have like Pro, insane. I'm gonna have to check that out. But oh, wow, that's like really costly. But it's like a lot of stuff. But you don't need that. The premium for like $16 per month is enough, I would say. If you go for like $120, like one-time payment, you even get like really good deal, I would say. But nevertheless, you get like a really good deal with this because this is what we use. But if you edit like a lot of AI images, then it can be like a little bit like the credits can be not like, yeah, they can be a bit too less. Like you would probably need more than what we would just do the Premium Plus. But if you just use like a subtle or just a couple like I do, like a couple AI image like video generations like here I did with the ice cream, then that would cover like the premium plan. So that's cool, and plus you get like so many different like stocks, vector files and stuff like that. There's like a lot of stuff. Like if I need like a blueprint, this is what I do. Just gonna search it up, and there's like millions of stuff, like literally so much stuff. 55,000 results for just blueprint, but there's like so much stuff. So yeah, but I would definitely make sure to make it also like the AI image engaging, and like also the lighting as well. Just I would just make sure it's like super easy to understand what is going on. So for your example, what I would have done maybe is I would just have like something more simple, like just one monitor maybe. And then what I would have done is just having it higher quality, and then maybe some motion in the video as well. Like you zoom in, yes, that's true. What I would just done as well is like maybe have like the Fiverr window maybe on the computer, and then you can just, instead of just having the Fiverr logo here, you could have just zoomed in on the computer and then just switched to a different screen where we actually open up like a proper window of Fiverr or something like this maybe. We could have just animated in like something like this, for example, if this makes sense. Something like this, like a window where you rebuild the Fiverr, and it's like super minimalistic, and yeah, that's what I would have maybe considered. That could have made more sense because then it would be higher quality, and then it would have purpose to have these windows with the editing scene, because you have to think of it like this. Does it actually have like a purpose to have these on screen, or is it actually just to, do they have any value? Do this have any value, or is it actually just there to make it look visually appealing? If it's just actually visually appealing without any giving any value, then like how can I actually make it have any value? And then you can do that by just removing maybe like a couple stuff like these things here around it. Just have like one monitor on it, have the dude on it, and just have like the monitor have like Fiverr open, and then just you can just switch to like the monitor POV that he looks on the monitor, and have like a window of Fiverr like opened up, and just like edit from there, like the video. On Fiverr for just like $50 per project. Yeah, you could have done that on like pretty much on that. That would have, I think, had more purpose. I would say like your animation would have had like more purpose in that way. So like the purpose of the AI animation would have, the AI image would have had more purpose, if this makes sense. Fiverr for just like $50 per project. Just as one idea. There's like literally a lot of different ways to make that happen. I really like this. I really like the font, and I really like the colors. What I would have done here is maybe make this a bit more bright, like the color, and I would have removed the drop shadow. So I would have just made like the rest of the screen like maybe a bit more dark, and I think this is like for the Fiverr, like the white from the Fiverr logo and just the green from the Fiverr. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. What I would have done here is just don't make this font italic. I would have not made it italic, and maybe just make it a little bit more thick. I like the font choice. What I would just do is just make it a little bit, like a bit more thick, just a little bit, and just don't make it like italic, like tilted. I would just make it straight, because I think that would look even more higher quality. But I really like how you chose the gradient. I think gradient is like really one of your strength here. I would just make it a bit more bright. And I would not like do these articles, because the articles don't really like have a meaning, I would say. No, wait. The particles are like burning effects, right? So if you have like $50 per project, it's like negative. But then I would have also made like the $50 like red, if this makes sense, because then it makes more sense. Because now it looks like $50 per project is good, but because green stands for positivity and like positive. And here I would just do then just red and kind of like showcasing that it's negative to have like $50 per project. And yeah, then it makes sense to have like fire, but then I would just make it more present maybe. Like have like actual maybe like a little fire overlay or something like that, or have like the image burning in the background or something like that, just to emphasize that even more. Because yeah, I mean sometimes less is more, but then it would just make more sense to have like effects on screen. Other than that, I would just maybe even remove that because sometimes less is more. And did you actually know that there is a small group of people who are actually making more than 3,000? So what I've done here is did you actually know that you cut back to me for like 1 second, but for like half the time my eyes are closed. So what I've done here is just essentially cut from this animation right to this animation and just skip like the 2 seconds where you show me, because these 2 seconds don't really have like a value because half of the time I'm just not really looking into the camera. Just half of the time I'm looking down or my eyes are closed, or I'm like whatever doing with my half of the eye, and then just half the time I'm like I have actually my eyes open. So I would just skip like cutting back to me, because then you can just you have to figure out like, okay, does it actually have any value that you cut back to me, or is it just to like because I don't want to connect the animations. So or is it just because I want to showcase you more? But if you want to showcase me more, I would just showcase where I don't have like my eyes closed, which is again my fault. No worries, it's like my recording fault. However, I would just, if we will never have like a perfect recording. So what I would just do is just bridge this animation and somehow connect it with this one, like the concept. And yeah, because then it's just easier to for the viewer to understand, because if you're like kind of switching back to me, show me, and then you just switch back to an animation, but I don't like there's no value in showing me, then the viewer is going to be confused, or you can just easily confuse the viewer or annoy the viewer as well by just cutting too much back and forth between animations and me, because this is like not really like a fast-paced edit. This can be like a little bit more slower paced. Who are actually making more than 3. Okay, so here what I would say is really subtle detail, but there is like less space here and there's like more space here. So make sure to center this, because there is also less space here and there is more space here within the box and the text. So I would make sure when you add stuff like that, I would make sure to center it within the box, and also make sure that I would say make the box a bit more higher, so it's kind of like almost the same like spacing between the left, like the width and the height as well. There's like almost the same spacing for the text within the box. Let me know if this makes sense. And maybe I can just is this draw? Yeah. So what you actually want to achieve is have like the same spacing here, so kind of like this, and also maybe here as well. Just not completely, but somehow the same spacing, if this makes sense, and within the box. If not, then I would just make the height like here. I would just make it a little bit more like smaller, like something like this. But yeah, I would just say censure is the least. But you also don't want to have it like the text too big in the box, because then it can just look super cramped. It's the same thing why if I would just be like almost like super near the camera like this, like my hands, it would be like the camera would like look super cramped with my face or with my body and with my character essentially. So we want to have like some headroom, like here right now within. You see, I have like enough headroom within the camera, and we want to do the same thing because it looks more clean and it looks more just less cramped, I would say. And we want to do the same thing for text and boxes as well. Making more 3,000, 5,000, or even 10. What I would do here is the zoom out is pretty fast. It feels like there would be like no like smooth motion. It will be just one like two linear keyframes. Like you know what linear is, like for example when I go to my essentials here. So this is like a this is like a linear keyframe, and this is like a linear movement. If I just zoom in. Place. Wait, let me just mute this because we don't need that. This is a linear movement. What you want to do is just ease it, like ease in, ease out, even if it's After Effects, because then it's just a smoother, like it starts. Let me show it, because it starts a little bit slow, it's fast, and it just fades out a little bit slower as well. It does the same timing, where essentially it zooms in the same time. It just looks way more smooth and way more natural. So we'll do the same thing for these as well. Just smooth out the keyframes. It takes literally like just one button click or two button clicks on your keyboard, like function F9 or something like that. But there is definitely like a keyboard shortcut for that in After Effects. So that's what I would do, because this looks like way too fast, and it's also like just doesn't look like as smooth. And here I would just maybe parent this to the rectangle, like to the white rectangle, like the text, because this here looks a bit off. But if it's your style, then just like whatever, then just that's up to you. Here I think you overdid like the deep glow or the glow effect. If you use deep glow, then we'll just turn it down a bit. If you use glow, then I would get deep glow and just, yeah, just use deep glow, because deep glow is super smooth. What I would do here is I would keep the numbers like the colors consistent, because it can be quite. If you use like a lot of colors, essentially like if you're getting inconsistent with your colors, then your edit can look super cheap, super fast. And what I could say here is like white, and then there's nothing on screen, and there's like 5,000 within this gradient color, and then we have again 10,000. So with like the white color and the glow. So what I would just do here is maybe like either just use green, which looks weird because the whole picture is green. So I would just use like white and just turn back the glow a little bit, because I think it's too much. Like the glow is a bit too much. And I would definitely make sure to not have like these space in between those numbers. I would just maybe like have like a rising number effect. If you don't know what a rising number effect is, rising number effect, After Effects. Whoops. Yeah, there's this video. No, not this one. There's the better one, like this one, like when the numbers just count up as you see here, but like a little bit slower. If this makes sense, you can just make that in After Effects. It takes like literally like 1 minute to learn how to do it, or like 2 minutes. Super easy. If I learned it, I knew how to do it, then you can definitely too. You're really skilled. This text is like super like fast. You can't even like almost notice it. So we'll just, if you want to have it blend in or have it on screen, then I would just give it more screen time and just don't remove it so fast. So either just blend in faster, like not faster, but blend it in sooner, and leave it on for longer. Also, like you see how there's the 0 where it ends here. What I would do here is just make sure it ends on the same line. So here, because your age is like already over the line. So we'll just make sure it's in the same line, because other than that, it's just the spacing can be like all over the place. The line, it's like not aligned, and it just doesn't look as smooth as it can be. And if it's not aligned because of the chair or something, then just put it up like on the chair and not behind the chair, essentially. And I would maybe not use these dots, and you can also remove these two words and just use per month, essentially, like this, per month, if you want to, or I should say per month instead of every single month, because it's just less words and it's easier to read if it's less words, but it has the same meaning, I would say. And here I would also, if you use rotoscoping, I would just make sure to make it a bit more smoother, because I know it's like not easy to do it, but I would just definitely make sure that it's a bit more smoother than this. If it would be like a longer video, then I would definitely make sure that the rotoscoping is a bit more smooth. While working with clients who actually. And here with the zoom ins and outs, I would make sure to not zoom in and zoom out like so many times, especially when we have like the same animation going on like this, because it just feels like there's like so many cuts in there. But not always when you zoom in and zoom out gives actually any value to the viewer. So you want to ask, like, you look at the script and what I say and how I say it, and just make decisions just to zoom in on the really important parts, or when you want to hide a cut, or want to hide that you animated something. Then it makes sense. Other than that, I would just turn back on like all the zoom ins and zoom outs. Value what they do. So actually value what they do. And actually value what they do. So in the next, and I don't think these sound effects are like super high quality. What I would do here is I would just pick some sound effects that are like super high quality. I know that Mangaji's team has like really high quality sound effects, and you can check out the sound effects in the community as well. Like they have like really good sound effects, and I have like pretty much just dumped my sound effects into this community, like here. Just download it, check it out. But I would not like do these keyboard typing. I heard these a lot, hear these a lot, and I don't think any of them like are actually fitting to like the video or like the style of the edit that you're going for. And yeah, I would just like also I will probably do a tutorial about this and just a breakdown of my sound design tutorial. But there is this one dude who made like a really good video. He didn't make a really good video, and he did a really good video. These two are like really good. This one is especially, it's really good. So in the next 5 minutes, I will I don't think this fits. Like this is like a different font than this one, and it's like a different editing style than you had before. Like this one is not pixelated. This one is not pixelated. The background here is not pixelated. This is not pixelated, and now all of a sudden is like 8-bit pixelated effect. I wouldn't use this maybe because I mean it makes sense color wise and like that makes sense, but I would just not use like this essentially because it just doesn't make sense the style wise, like your style choice. See how clean this looks, but see how like pixelated this looks. I mean you know because you edited it, but it just doesn't fit to this style. And this one as well, like this fits more, but it's also not pixelated. But this is here pixelated, you know? So we want to keep the same style and not like just stroll away from the style too much, because then it can look super cheap super fast, I would say. I will exactly show you how I went from broke, almost about to quit editing, to actually... I like this. I like this super clean. I like how you emphasized it. I'm just not sure if it fits because this is like night and day. I would just make this a little bit more thick. Just a little bit more thick. To actually build a thriving editing business. I like this a lot that you did that. What I would do here only is a couple things. First of all, the colors. So we haven't used red so far. We have like only green, white, and black. This is what we had so far. So what I would do here is not do blue, not do red, but like white, black, and just green. And if you want to have like thriving editing business, then this is actually positive. So you should use green here, and you can use like whatever other green, like different like. Let me show this. So like a green color palette. Let me show it. So if you want, if your color is like white and black, and you have like one color which is, for example, green. Of course not. Okay, yeah, there we go. Then what I would do is just use like a color palette of green, like this one, for example. And you can just use. Can I just open up? Yeah. Then we'll just. Can I remove this? Then we'll just use like dark green, like a little more brighter green, and then just like your color. It really depends. That's what I would do here. It's like these can be like a little bit more brighter green. This can be a super dark green. This can be a brighter green, and then this can be like the green that we used so far. And this can be like maybe like a secondary color like orange or something like that, or something along that. And yeah, because that would make sense. And if you keep this like dark green background, then I would also use the same dark green background here as well. So we have like the same kind of style going throughout the video. I know you wanted to break like kind of like the rules here and just kind of like introduce like a visual, like a re-engage the viewer with a different background, stuff like that. That can work. I'm not against it. However, we would just make sure that our main focus is to stay branded with the edits. And one thing I can recommend is not doing all caps. Like you haven't had all caps here. This was perfect. This was good because you wrote Q and E big, and here was good because I mean he would have I wrote the W. I would have wrote the W big, and that's cool. Here it's good because per project is written small. Here you wrote the D big, so that's really good that you wrote it big. Here you wrote L big, that's really good. So you have to be like super consistent with it. I think this makes sense. This here and this here makes sense, but this doesn't make sense to have like all caps. So we'll not do all caps. What I would do instead is just have like the T, E, and the B big, or just the T in general big, and the rest small. And yeah, what I would do as well is like I would make sure to I would make sure to censor this here, because you see how much space here is and how little space here is. And here as well, there's more space than here. So always make sure when you have text that you center it to the box, essentially. Okay? Other than that, I really like it.
Before you ask me, I did not do it.
Did we talk about like the transitions? Because I'm not sure if the transitions actually made sense here. Because you hadn't had transitions before, like here, you hadn't had transitions. Here would have made sense to make like a green transition maybe, if it makes sense brand-wise. Here we hadn't had like a transition, but here you had like a transition added. So I'm not sure about that, why you did the decision. You can maybe like comment like on the loom here, or like on like in school, like on the post.
Before you ask me,
but I would just not like add the loom transition. Maybe you can just fade out like the background and just fade out the elements one by one, like and then just have my face on screen.
Before you ask me, I did not do it with sending thousands of cold emails to random clients.
Yeah, we talked about this, I guess, that this is like a bit too fast, like the animation here. So it's like super hard to see the emails. If this was like a pre-downloaded animation, and what I would just do is just redo it for yourself. So there's like just this email icon, and then you just rotate it, and then just have motion blur added to it, and then just like position keyframe here and position keyframe there, and then just and then just copy and paste it and just add like the positions. It's super easy to recreate that, so that's what I would do. And this is a different font, right? Or is this a different font than these? Because I would just use these fonts if you like have it throughout the video. So I would make sure to be consistent with the font. So like if you use this font, and I would also do the same thing here. And yeah, I would also not tilt the font, because look how like clean this looks, and look how like cheap this looks compared to that. So yeah, and if you want to have like a real underline, what I can recommend is either create it yourself with like a line and just add rough and edges to it, whatever, or maybe use like free pick and just underline like whatever underline. Like for example, there are underlines and there are like videos as well. Yeah, something like this. Then we'll just make like a like a sweep, and then kind of like that style, like this brush style, I would say. Kind of like here, but I can't seem to find like a proper one in like a minute, so I would just have to do more research. But I know in fact that I've used it before, so yeah, that's what I would do. Just trying it out. But yeah, this is like a couple feedback that I had to the video. Overall, really good video. These are just a couple of feedbacks that I had, and yeah, I think there is like a lot that you can get out of AI, especially with the quality, especially like when I used it for this one. I think like it changed like my perspective on how I use AI image, because this video is like for an older audience, for a more mature audience, not like those 18 to 25-year-olds. It's like more like 25 to 40-year-olds essentially. Like not 40-year-olds, but like 25 to 40-year-olds, like that specific audience, like 25 plus. And like if you have like more and more AI images in your edits, the less premium I think your edit can look like. So you have to be like super cautious what you actually add into your edit, especially with the AI images. And what you also have to be cautious, like, okay, what is like, and ask yourself like, what is actually my goal with this edit? Who is our audience? What can make actually our audience be like what can I edit that makes our audience go wow, or can I edit to make our audience think like, okay, this is what I can actually like how should I say it, like resonate with. What's one thing that can resonate with? What's one thing that I also like recognize as well? Like that's one thing I would just focus on whenever you ask yourself like what to add into a video. What does my audience think of this? What is my audience think first when he hears this? What does my audience like know, so I can just break it down? Because you don't try to explain a concept on a cooking channel with like where you make a book analogy, for example, or you don't make like a gaming analogy, like when it's about like a mature audience on a cooking channel, for example. You cannot make a gaming analogy. You cannot like show like Fortnite gameplay maybe to explain your analogy. You show something like that is tailored towards that audience. So if it's a cooking audience, then it would show something like something with like food, or something with food like utensils, you know? If it's a productivity like community or productivity like our audience, it would show something with like a mouse or like a keyboard, because that's what they always see. They always know, like they have like a productivity like when they into productivity, they probably have like a mouse and a keyboard, or like a microphone maybe, or like a screen. So I would just make more of that, or like a website that they use probably, like I don't know what websites they use, like time tracker maybe, you know? So that's a couple of analogies I would use, or concepts, or like how I would create like a concept to showcase essentially. Let me know if this makes sense. I'm not sure if I just like explained it super bad, but this is against like this is against this is tailored towards like a video editing audience. So when we have like a video editing audience, then what I would do is show, like you actually did here as well. You show like a timeline because it's a video editing audience. So you did a really great job on thinking of, okay, what concepts can I show it? Like what is the concept I can show here for a video editing audience? So we'll do the same thing throughout the whole video, and just think of it like, okay, does it actually give value what I do, or is it just there to make it look flashy and nice? Cool. Thank you for watching this. I hope you learned something. I hope I gave you some clear feedback. And just let me know if you have like more questions to this. Great job on the edit.